What's going on? What's going on, people? How y'all doing? Chef Joseph, the entrepreneur, back at you again with another video. Chef Joseph, the entrepreneur, back at you again with another video. Man, glad y'all tuning in and all that great stuff. So I just want to talk to you this morning about thinking outside of the box. You know what I'm saying? Thinking outside of the box, which will be the title of today's video. Thinking outside of the box. You know, how can I say this? Just trying to gather and put the words together here. But when you have been, let's just say you come from a traditional family or a traditional situation where everyone expects you to be, normal or think like them, do as I say, that type of thing. But you tend to have innovative ideas. You know, you have been born with a level of innovation. You have been born with a level of something to do with your life, which eventually will eventually require you to think outside of the box. When you want greater things, you have to do, you have to think outside the box, especially if you want greater things in your life or with your life, because to get to that next level is going to require a certain measure of time, a certain measure of effort, a certain measure of literally having to separate yourself so you can get your thoughts together, so you can think outside the box to create whatever it is you need to create, and to design and build what it is you're designed to build, to do. There's something that people don't really tell you about when you tend to, if you decide to go on your path. Something that was not told to me, well, I take that back. My mentor, Junior, before he transitioned years ago, which is in the book, shout out to He Came During the Civil War.com. He Came During the Civil War.com. That is the Chef Joseph story. Check that website out. Go from there, order your book. If you want to know my true story, everything, what I'm saying? Yeah, it's there. Oh my gosh, it's tight. It's going to be released on May 1st. But when you're thinking outside of the box, one of the things that they don't tell you is that, one of the things that they don't prepare you for, is that what you will face once you do decide to make that particular choice. Expect to lose friends. Expect to be looked at different. Expect people to talk about you. That's the next thing. You got to have tough skin for that. I remember the most recent thing that I did. I decided to make a business move where I actually shut an operation down, actually. And to some of those may have thought that it failed. No, it actually didn't fail. Actually, it was growing, but it required me to think outside the box. I looked at the trajectory that my life was heading in. I looked at the years I put in the food game, and I decided to pivot, which required me to think outside the box. And to some people, or to the unlearned, it may appear as, that it was a failure, or however, how people would talk, but it was far from that. I made a conscious decision to step away. Mainly as a melanated entrepreneur, whether people want to hear this or not, our struggles in business are totally different from any other counterparts out there. And to those of you that are in business, you can understand what I'm saying. You can understand what I'm saying. You can definitely overstand what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at that, the jealousy and just etc., just a lot of that, what I'm saying? Just the fact that, you thought outside the box, you started a business, not only a business, but a successful business. You know, it required thinking outside the box. And so when I looked at everything that was happening and things in my life and what's the next level of life, he came during the civilwar.com. Check it out. That's when I really made a decision. You know what I'm saying? I thought outside the box. I looked around me and I looked at where, my next chapter was. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's time to shift gears here, you know. And, but yeah, anyway. So I'm saying that to say that when you make a decision to think outside of your box, expect people to talk about you. Expect the strange looks. Expect these things. They come with the territory. I know you hear that saying all the time. It comes with the territory. It's easier said than experienced. You know what I'm saying? Because when you are one who are, you're innovative, you know what I'm saying, and you have, you have goals and aspirations for yourself, just know there are many around you who don't want to see that. You know what I'm saying? Um, I guess you can chalk it up to human nature, actually. I know for me, I've never been the type of person to like be jealous of someone. If I see someone with a business and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Um, I'm gonna be happy for them. I'm gonna be happy that they did succeed in whatever whatever they are done. You know, but what I've seen in this particular area, oh my God, the hate is real, and unfortunately, a lot of it came from people that look like me. And to those of you who support it, absolutely, hats off to you. Thank you. You know, you basically supported a business that was doing a lot in the community. And we just decided to pivot for a second. That's all it was. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we're not out the game at all. You know what I'm saying? We just actually transitioned from life to life, not life to death. See what I'm saying? And so, but it required me thinking outside of the box. And just like you, once you get into your craft, it's going to come a time where you're going to have to say, you know what? You have to evaluate where you are. Excuse me. And it's going to require you to think outside the box, to go and plan and to execute your next moves. You know what I'm saying? And it's a beautiful thing, actually. You know, in life, if you look at the cycle of life, um, it was a song too. Even the scripture talks about that in Ecclesiastes or Ecclesiasticus, to those who know what I'm talking about as far as that scripture is concerned, that book is concerned. There's a time to be born and a time to die. There's a time to plant. There's a time to pick up which that was planted. So everything in life, there's a season. See what I'm saying? And just like you at level 1 and you start thinking outside the box going to level 2, then you think outside the box again and go to level 3. See what I'm saying? There's a season for all these things, and you have to know that you have to do what's right for yourself. That's what you have to do. You have to think outside the box, to plan your life. And just know that once you start moving on that path of execution, yeah, people gonna look at you different. They're gonna look at you strange, just all kind of things. But be prepared for that. But you know what? It's your life, and it's your life, and it's your God-given right to think outside the box. I know for me, my creativity is on tilt, and I know anytime that I was in a situation that my creativity was stifled, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's something I really had to look at. It took me 2 years to finish my autobiography. 2 whole years. 2 years of my autobiography. Yeah, it's around 310 pages. You know what I'm saying? And it's tight. He came during the Civil War. And, but anyway, yeah, so I'm just saying that it was time for me to pivot and to move on to the next level. And it required me to think outside the box. And so to those of you who seem to be stuck, if you think that you're stuck, if you can't, if you have no conception, if you can't conceive anything that I'm saying, in this particular video, take a look around you and just ask yourself, is this where you want to be in your life? Are you happy in this relationship? Are you happy in this job situation? Let me put a pin in it right there. Job situation. If someone gives you a job and an opportunity, and let's just say you on level 1 and you're trying to get to level 2, you know what I'm saying? You work this job, oh, I don't like this job, I'm just going to quit. That's not a good move. For 2 reasons mainly. One, when someone takes the time to invest, I put a pin in it. I know I just spun gears, changed gears. I just put a pin in that particular thing. A job. Now, one, that job took time to invest in you. That job took time to believe in you, and that job took time to give you a shot, give you a chance, you know, and then you up and quit on them. That doesn't align with karma. See what I'm saying? That doesn't align with the stars, that type of behavior. If you don't like the situation, at least what you can do is be kind enough to put in a 2 weeks notice. That way you're leaving in good faith. You're leaving with good karma. You're leaving with good energy. And you know what I'm saying? And you don't have to worry about anything in the spiritual realm coming back to bite you. Talking about a job. And the second reason about that job situation is that this just a stepping stone to get to where you're about to go to. Well, when you are thinking outside the box, such as I was at the time, I donated plasma. Okay, I donated plasma, and I knew that wasn't my future, but I had to think outside of the box and grab money wherever I could grab it from. See what I'm saying? And that was one of the sources that I used. Shout out to the plasma centers. You know, that's a 50-50 shout out. But however, for on the top surface, they were there, and it was reciprocal. I gave, I received, well, I received and gave, but it was mutual exchange, is what I'm saying. It was a mutual exchange. You know, some exchanges bigger than others, but I'll leave that there, respectfully. But yeah, so be mindful of that when you think outside the box. You know, you're not going to have many friends. You know, I can tell you that a lot of the people that I knew back when I was, trying to, climb up or get up, when I was trying to rise, unfortunately, a lot of them didn't think outside the box. And I still see the same people that are still there, but my season for that is over with. You know what I'm saying? I feel better. I look better. I can breathe better, but it required me thinking outside the box. But back to you. That's what we were saying. So when you're trying to go to level 2, remember, I'm taking the pen out of it now. So you may be working this job, but in order to think outside the box, get to the next level, that job should be used as your stepping stone. See what I'm saying? So that's part of your out of the box moment, that you may not like what you're doing, but guess what? It's going to be a contributing factor to you getting to your next level. So don't quit. Save that money. Save that extra money and do right by that job, because like I said, they gave you a shot, to come work and make some money. And yeah, so that's kind of what it is. So I just want to share that with y'all, to think outside the box, especially in the season we are in now. You see what's going on with AI. You see what's going on with the job losses and things like that. So now it's requiring for you to think outside the box. There we go. Thinking outside the box. Because yeah, I was looking at something, I think it was yesterday, and there's a lot of industries that are being affected. And you need to hone in on your gift, which requires you to think outside the box. How do I think outside the box, Chef? Well, you can book me for a consultation, Cash App only, actually. But you can go to my website, chefjosephskicksauce.com, and you can go to the contact page and send a message through the contact page, and then I'll shoot you a link. And I have different programs. If you go to the entrepreneur program, entrepreneurs page, you can see the different services that I offer as far as helping you think outside the box. Because it's definitely a time for you to do it now. Yeah, it's just a lot of people losing jobs, etc. And I want you to be ahead of the curve. Okay? So like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your time. But remember, no matter what, you must think outside the box. Okay? Time is at hand. All right? Peace.